Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU audiobooks. Indira Gandhi National Open University, 01. School of Humanities, SOH, Bachelor's degree programs, BA, English and Hindi. Elective courses, English, BEGE 101 from Language to Literature, Block 1 Content Vocabulary I, Unit 1 Extension of Meaning-1. 1.0 Objectives. In this unit, we shall discuss the relationship of language to literature. Show how literary language is different from ordinary language. The role of context in determining meaning. The distinction between literal meaning and metaphoric, extended, meaning. On completing this unit, you should be able to understand the relationship between language and literature. Distinguish between literal meanings and extended meanings. Use some of the important words in their extended senses in order to write more effectively. 1.1 Introduction. As discussed in the introduction to the course and the block, the thrust of this course is to make you understand the relationship of language to literature. The important thing for us is to understand the dynamic nature of words and how creative writers-orators manipulate them in particular contexts to bring about special effects. Before we undertake a detailed discussion on how words have a number of different meanings and how their meanings get extended, it would be appropriate here to FMT explain the dynamics of language, its spoken and written modes, which lead to the centrality of dialogues in drama, a little bit on the indirect discourse in the context of short story novel. In other words, the creativity in language involves the use of the available possibilities of language in order to create new communicative possibilities. In it. 1.2 Language and Literature. Language is central to all human activity and all literature is also manifested in and through language. All our individual and social activities are possible through language because language functions as a powerful symbol for the representation of reality. We need to understand the difference between language and the actual objects or events of actual life. For example, the word tree consists of three sounds, t, r, and the long vowel as denoted by e. The tree as an actual physical object is part of the world. So we have the sign, tree, and the actual object of the tree. When the sign, which is born out of use in society, gets associated with the object for its users, then the sign can be said to have meaning. Look at the screen for table content. This is how meanings get associated to spoken words and we begin to call them words and the larger units as sentences, etc. Language is a versatile medium of communication. It is used for all kinds of human communication, in gossip, in commercial transactions, in political persuasion, in scientific reports, in advertisement and in literature, etc. If we classify the above into two groups, i.e., non-literary and literary languages, then can we distinguish between the two varieties of language? The answer maybe is provided on the basis of the following two reasons. Firstly, the non-literary, or the ordinary, or practical, language can be said to be used in carrying on the practicalities of everyday life. Literary language, on the other hand, does not use language in real, day-to-day situations. The literary language may be life or analogous to ordinary language, as in novels or dramas, but it does not carry forward the actual happenings between real people, such as meeting, praising, giving a loan, making a transaction, teaching a class, etc. In this sense, literary language can said to be a historical. Secondly, literary language can be seen to deviate or violate in structure from the ordinary language in many ways. Many scholars believe that literary writers have very subtle experiences to communicate, and since ordinary language is unable to meet their requirements, they resort to patterning or distortion of language forms for aesthetic purposes. By aesthetics, we mean the pleasure that one derives from the observation of an object by itself. This joy is not related to any practical use of language. For example, Roman, Jacobson, Linguistics and Poetics, a closing statement, in T.A. Sebeok, ed., Style in Language Mick Press, cites an example where a lady says, I like IK. When someone asked why she didn't say, IK for me, or, I like Eisenhower, President Eisenhower of USA was known as IK, she replied that the expression she used has a pleasure of its own. Similar is the case of all literary language. Literary language creates meanings by using language in both conventional and non-conventional ways. The conventional or the literal use of language gives us known meanings of words, whereas the unconventional or literary language creates new meanings through forms like the metaphor, etc. The present block will introduce you to the way meanings are extended or recreated in literary language. Language as a medium of communication functions mainly through two modes, i.e., spoken and written. We use the spoken medium in our daily communication, and we use the written medium in all our writings and readings, official or otherwise. These two modes have some significant differences which are as below. Speech. 1. We speak and listen to speech, so vocal and auditory systems are used. Writing. We write and read what is written, and hence it involves our visual capacity. 2. Speech, minus the recording system, is transient, for it dissipates in air after it is spoken. Writing can be presented as a record. 3. Speech has different degrees of pauses, and it uses intonation contours for statements, questions, special focus, etc. Writing exploits punctuations to give a rhythm of language, and also we can have diagrams, graphs, charts and equations in writing. 4. Speaker and hearer are generally close, and here there is greater integration between the two. Writing generally involves some distance between the writer and the reader, and hence it involves distance between the interlocutors. 5. Since the interlocutors are present, which is assumed, resulting in utterances which are grammatically incomplete. Due to distance, writing generally is more grammatically complete. Although the two are different modes of language, but they are not entirely exclusive. E.g., we can find elements of speech in written dialogues as in novels and dramas, or even have the written form in speech as in the news broadcast telecast over the radio TV. All dramas, plays, are constructed on the pattern of oral speech, dialogues. Dialogues in drama function at two levels as shown in the diagram below from Short 1989, 49, M. Short 1989, Discourse Analysis and the Analysis of Drama. In R. Carter and P. Simpson, eds. Language, Discourse and Literature, London, Unwin Hyman. Look at the screen for table content. This diagram shows that the playwright addresses the audience reader through constructed dialogues at one level, and at another level it is the characters within the play who are shown to interact with one another. All dialogues get meaning from the created, physical, context and the personal, context. By physical context, we mean creation of environments like home, workplace, etc. And the personal context encompasses social status and groups memberships by virtue of which characters speak. About dialogues you will learn more in later blocks. In writing, we generally come across two varieties of speech, the direct speech and the indirect speech. Look at the two structures below. 1. She said, I'll come here tomorrow. Or 2. I'll come here tomorrow, she said, is direct speech. 3. She said that she would go there the following day. Indirect speech. In direct speech, we have the reporting verb which can be different from the tense of the reported speech in inverted commas. The indirect speech changes the pronouns, the adverbs of time, and the tense of the reported speech, etc. In novels and short stories, we find a third variety called the free indirect discourse. FID. The FID combines elements from both the direct speech and the indirect speech, and it functions to present a stream of consciousness, etc. The above sentence can be rendered in FID as 4. She would be there tomorrow. Here the adverb tomorrow has the form as in the direct speech, and the phrase she would as in the indirect speech, and the higher reporting verb as she said is missing. The FID expressions at times do carry the punctuation marks found in direct speech, such as questions mark or sign of interrogation, etc. This technique is used more in short stories and novels, about which you will read more in later blocks. We shall next resume our discussion on literal versus metaphorical meaning. 1.3 Literal versus metaphorical meaning. In English, as in most other languages, a word is used in more than one sense or shade of meaning. The original sense in which a word is used is its literal meaning. For example, in the sentence, "A dog is man's best friend," the word dog is used in its literal sense to refer to a particular animal. But if we call a person a dog to mean that he is a worthless evil person, we are extending the meaning of the word. Similarly, in the sentence "The dog always barks at the postman," the verb bark is used in its literal sense, but when we say to a person, "Don't bark like that, hurry," to refer to the sharp and loud sound he is making, we have extended the meaning of bark. This kind of extension is called a metaphor. A metaphor is the use of a phrase which describes one thing by stating another with which it can be compared. In Units 1 to 2, we shall discuss the different ways in which words get their meanings extended. Take this sentence: "You should comb your hair more often." The word comb is used here in its literal sense. We are asking this person to tidy, clean, straighten, or arrange his hair with a comb. But if we say, "The police combed the forest for the missing boy," we are using the word comb to mean search thoroughly. This is an extension of meaning. Just as the comb goes through the hair to clean and tidy it, so the police searched the forest to find the boy. By using a word in its extended sense, we help to make concrete the idea we are trying to convey. For instance, in the second sentence above, it becomes easier for the reader or listener to visualize or see in his mind what the police are doing. Their thoroughness in searching the forest becomes vivid. 1.4 Extension of meaning. 1st April 2001. From a concrete object to an abstract idea. The meaning of a word may be transferred or extended from a concrete object which we can feel and see to an abstract idea. This helps to make the idea vivid. It becomes easier to see the idea or visualize it in concrete terms with the help of a word picture. Take this example. His knowledge of history was getting rusty. The usual association of the word rusty is with things made of iron which get covered with rust, e.g., a rusty box, rusty nails, etc. When iron and some other metals are exposed to water and air, a reddish-brown surface forms on them. This is called rust. So, rusty nails are nails covered with rust. They have lost their brightness because they have been lying unused for a long time. This idea of things getting rusted has been transferred to one's knowledge of a subject to mean that it is mostly forgotten because it has not been used for a long time. 1st April 2002, living, animal or human, to non-living, zero object, and vice versa. When we describe non-living objects or things as if they had animal or human qualities and feelings, we personify them. We transfer qualities or things usually associated with living beings to non-living things. This helps us to picture things and objects more clearly in our imagination. For example, One leg of the table was broken. The hands of the clock have stopped. The mouth of the cave was blocked by a big stone. The pencil screeched. The transfer of meaning in all these cases has taken place like H's. Living thing, animal human, e.g., leg of animal non-living thing, object, e.g. leg of table. The transfer of extension may be the other way, though, that is, non-living thing plus living thing. E.g., he is a crooked person. Usually, the word crooked is used to describe a rod or a stick, i.e., one which is not straight but is twisted and bent. Similarly, a crooked person is one who is dishonest. That is, not straight in his dealings. 1st April 2003, animal to human and vice versa. Look at this expression. He is a real chameleon. Now what is the extension here? A chameleon is a small lizard which can change its color to match the color of the background. In this way, it can hide itself from its enemies. When a man is called a chameleon, the quality of changing the color to protect oneself is transferred from the animal to man. The man may keep changing his behavior and statements to suit his own interests. The transfer has taken place as follows. Animal, human. Here is an exercise to revise what you have read in sections 1st March 2001 to 1st March 2003. 1st April 2004, extension of sensory perception. The extension of meaning may take place from one sensory perception, smell, touch, taste, sound or sight, to an object, feeling or abstract idea, generally not associated with it. Thus, 1. The language of the eyes. 2. The speech of the dark eyes. The eyes are generally used for seeing. They do not produce any sound or speech. Here, however, the words, language, and speech refer to the expression in the eyes. 1st April 2005, extension by magnification. Often, writers use words associated with grand or sublime ideas or objects for ordinary ideas or objects. The effect is one of humor or lightheartedness. It also helps to highlight the importance of something. E.g., I adore ice cream. One may adore a person, that is, worship him as God. In the sentence given here, the word adore shows the great liking I have for ice cream. It also indicates a light-hearted treatment of the subject. 1.5. Let us sum up. In this unit, you have learned to distinguish the extended meaning from the literal meaning, and to understand the shades of meaning of certain words used in standard works of literature. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video with the next chapter.